Record for me. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Good morning. Today we have someone from Peterson Cat to talk about careers at this company. And before we get started, I just want to go ahead and run through a few things. So over on the right, we have the check-in button or check-in QR code, and this is for your counselor, so the counselors know that you're at this meeting and you're not somewhere where you're not supposed to be. We have the evaluation form in the middle, and that's for high school students. If you want to receive your attendance for this event, make sure you fill out that form. That's how we keep track of everything. And over on the left, we have great questions document. And so I know you guys get a lot of information during these meetings. So this is just a really good reference for you guys. Be fully present, pay attention, a lot of great information, a lot of good things that you didn't realize were out there. And then don't forget to submit your evaluation. And that is it for me. Randy, if you want to go ahead and get started, feel free.
Well, thank you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk this morning. So my name's Randy Shelton. I'm the talent acquisition manager for Peterson Cat, and just going to give some brief information. I have a small presentation to give explaining the company, and then specifically talking about what we call our Think Big training program, which is where we train people to be a cat heavy equipment technician or a cat generator technician. So everybody's from the Hillsborough area, correct? I mean, that's so I can focus specifically on Hillsborough, right?
It's Hillsborough, Beaverton, and there's a few other places, but Hillsborough, Beaverton.
But it's the Portland area, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So, and feel free to jump in with any sort of questions. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the company, what we're all about, and then get into the details of the Think Big program. Okay. So can everybody see the picture? That's our Hillsborough location.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. So that's the office I work out of. That's our newest facility. Well, no, actually, it's not our newest facility, but it's the largest facility in the company. We have about 25 acres sitting there, 5 buildings, a number of different shops in the background. As you can see, this is our territory. So within our territory, from San Francisco north up into Washington, we have 25 locations where somebody can go in and buy a piece of cat equipment. We also, at these different locations, provide service to them and also parts. So it's like a car dealership. So you buy a piece of cat equipment, you'd come into one of our locations, and then if you wanted it serviced, which they need servicing all the time, you'd come into one of our locations or call them. So we have 3 states we do business in: Northern California, and we have 2 locations in Washington. One's in Longview and one's in Ridgefield. You can see Hillsborough there at the top of the map. We have
Randy.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's showing full screen for us.
Oh, really? What is it showing here?
It's showing the PowerPoint, but it just has the list on the side. Do you have 2 monitors?
How's that looking?
It still looks the same.
I do have 2 monitors going, so maybe
I think
maybe I'll take one of them off.
You can reshare, I think, the screen that you want.
Okay. Okay, how about this one?
Yep, that looks great.
Thank you. So we have cover 100,000 square miles of territory. We have a bunch of field service trucks. And so if you look at our 1,700 employees, a third of them are technicians, which is where we're going with all this. We're actually a number of companies under the Peterson Cat umbrella, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about. So most people know us for the construction equipment you see on the side of the road. Certainly in Washington County, they're all over the place. Our customers are out there using a variety of types of equipment. We provide mining equipment. We have a few mines around in our territory, lots of construction equipment. Forestry is also big with us. As you can see, one of those pictures is one of our forestry excavators working. Waste handling, another one that's a big business for us. May not know that we provide generators. So the Cat generator is the top of the line out there. So these are put in buildings. We put them in buildings. So, you know, out in Washington County, there's a lot of high-tech buildings. They need backup power, and a lot of them have Cat generators back there. We're not talking just one, we can talk multiple generators. We also put generators into ships. So we have two ports, San Francisco and Portland, and we have very healthy business for putting generators and engines in ships. We actually have a floating shop in the Bay Area where ships pull up and get work done. We do also sell an on-highway truck. It's under the brand of International. Cat does not make an on-highway truck, so we sell an international brand, and we have 9 locations. Our Portland location is over off Columbia Boulevard. We have a couple of technology arms. SciTech supplies basically GPS systems that are used on construction and ag equipment. And then Building Point Pacific is another. They use a Trimble product for surveying and 3D modeling. And frankly, they work with some pretty cool technology. A lot of rental business. So we do have one at Hillsboro where you can come in and you can rent anything from small handheld items up to excavators and bulldozers. You can see there's a lot of aerial lifts on there as well. So if you drive by our location on the 26 freeway, you'll see a lot of aerial lifts setting out there with those. We rent those. California, it's under a separate brand, but rental, it often makes sense for companies to rent rather than buy a piece of equipment. So that's the company. I'm here specifically to talk about our Think Big program, which is a apprenticeship / internship program. We have a partner college we work with, which is Portland Community College, the Rock Creek campus. So very close to somebody who's living in Hillsboro. They are actually on the campus building a brand new building that's soon to be finished that is specifically devoted to Think Big. It's state of the art. You know, there's half a dozen buildings on that campus, and we have one devoted to Think Big. That just tells you how committed the college is to the Think Big program. So the program in length is 22 months. So this is an associate's degree program. So to become a entry-level technician for us, or really any other diesel employer, you need an associate's degree from a college or one of the private schools. That's the barrier to entry to get in. I get asked this a lot. well, can I just start there and you train me how to be a cat technician? Unfortunately not. We do require you to need some additional training. I mean, if would you be able to walk into the local Mercedes dealership and tell them you want to work on their cars? That's obviously not realistic, but I do get that on occasion. And I always then push them towards one of the programs out there where they can be trained how to be a diesel technician. So the Rock Creek campus has several programs. Think Big is one of them. They also have a generic diesel program, what we call generic, that anybody can go in there and get hired out of it. So here's my plug for diesel in general. You like to work with your hands, mechanically inclined, want to make a good income, a good career that's always in demand. I would certainly recommend diesel as something to pursue. So the Think Big program, 22 months, you get an associate's degree. How this program differs from a lot of them out there is that you actually rotate back and forth between school and your home store. So let's say you started in the program this year, you'd start a class in September at the college, you'd go to school for 8 weeks. And at the end of that 8-week program, then you'd come to our Hillsborough store and you'd be working out in the store. You'd be getting college credit as well as getting paid. So there's 5 sessions of school at 8 weeks apiece. And in between those, there's 4 internships, which are paid, and you're also getting college credit for it. So this hands-on training really reinforces the learning you're getting. So you get to learn it in school, and then you get to go right out there in the shop and apply it in a real world situation. So right out of high school, right now we're starting people at $18.50 an hour. You will get a pay raise then every 6 months. So when you graduate at the end of the 22 months, you'll be making $25 an hour. And we'll still be then getting raises every 6 months thereafter. This is a earn while you learn program. So you're getting paid while you're learning, and it's actually learn while you earn as well. If you're selected in this program, one of your first few days in the shop, you will be inventorying your brand new Matco toolbox with about $10,000 worth of tools in it. It is yours to use when you're working in the shop. At the end of the 2 years, once you graduate and continue working for us, which we hope you will, after 6 months of employment as a full-time employee, those tools are yours to keep. There's nothing at that point to prevent you from leaving and taking those tools and going with you, because quite frankly, you're getting the best training in the industry out there, and our competitors would love to snatch you up. We'll provide you with everything you need to wear: uniforms, boots, all other PPE that is required. That's personal protective equipment. So we give you everything you need to, all the tools you'll need, everything you need to wear. Your commitment to this is you need to pay for school, the 5 school sessions, which this rate, this amount is set by the college. It's per credit hour at the school. If you break this up into 5 sessions, it totals out to be about $12,000 over a 2-year period. Now, if you compare that, if you're really seriously about diesel, and compare that with some of the other programs out there, you go to PCC, their diesel program, it's at least $15,000. Some of the private schools can be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to go to them. So this is still very economical in relation to the other programs out there. And it gets better. So you pay $12,000. We are actually going to pay back $10,000 of that. So, and that's over a 3-year period, every 6 months. So we don't have any sort of contract or agreement with you. We do incentivize you to continue working for us by paying that tuition back, or most of it. I get asked this question a lot. This is the college, So all sorts of financial aid apply, grants, scholarships, Oregon Promise, what have you that you're using. They all apply towards the college. It's just like if you enrolled in PCC and were paying for classes there. We are looking for people that first and foremost want to work safely, looking for somebody that really has a great attitude. We're looking for coachable people. We don't need mechanical experts. We need people that we can train. Mechanical aptitude, quite frankly, this is really the separator. Is it somebody that likes to work with their hands for fun? They like to rebuild things. That's the type of person we're looking for, because that's what they're going to be doing on the job. And I throw this in there that yes, you do need to have to pursue, something post high school. You're getting an associate's degree. You're going to be taking college classes, 13 CAT, which are all technical. There's also a few general education classes thrown in there. For an example, writing 121 is a requirement for everybody at the college to take in order to graduate. That's a class you're going to have to take and pass. I will say that we have specially picked instructors in this program that know exactly the type of student we have. So as an example, writing 121, they have you writing service reports and something related to the specific field. We will help you get through the classes, but you have to be somebody that wants to take college classes. Again, I will come back to the person who'd asked me, can't you just train me right off? Train me from nothing to be a technician. Those are the ones that oftentimes don't want to do anything after high school. Once you're employed with us from day one, we have all the medical insurance, medical, dental, vision, life, disability. We have a 401k with a 50% match. We offer vacation and sick time, employee assistance program, and a lot more. So, the way the program works is we hire you and then send you to school for training. I get asked that. Well, what happens at the end of the program? Do I get a job? Well, actually, you were already hired. There's how you apply. I can put that in the chat as well. We do take all the way up till end of May. We'll interview everybody that applies. We'll decide at that point who we want to hire. Most of the time you can work during the summer, but then classes start in September. Here's my contact information. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the program. Lots of pros. I mean, you get the best training in the industry out there. You're working on modern equipment with specially trained instructors. You get to go do the hands-on part of the training. Those are lots of positives. The negatives, certainly we hire people all over the state for this program. So those that are out of the Portland area, they have to find housing in Portland for those school sessions, which quite frankly is a pretty big challenge. But if you're in Portland, that shouldn't be a problem. And the other thing is this program is heavily monitored. Everybody, well, not everybody, lots of people know how you're performing in school. We are all invested in your school performance. We expect you to be able to go take past classes. If you're a student that doesn't like to apply themselves, this program's probably not well suited for you, because it's not everybody, lots of people know. So I just, as an example, I got some grade reports out for some of my current students, and one of the students was not doing well. Well, we had a number of people involved in getting him back on course and back on track and going the right direction. So there's support there, but everybody knows how you're doing in school. I tell people, if you're the type of student that just wants to, kind of coast along and do the bare minimum, well, this program is really not for you. You probably want to pursue something else. That there are some pretty significant requirements here. But if that works for you, you get a lot given to you. I mean, a lot. This is just the starting point to become a technician with us. Once you finish the 2-year program, then is when this training really starts. We have full-time staff. That's all they do is train people. Your career paths are unlimited with the company. You can continue to be a technician and advance up. You can go into a different area. You can be looking to supervisor, manager, trainers. All of our trainers are former technicians, salespeople. Most of them are all former technicians. Our customers are very sophisticated. So if you're out there trying to sell a $500,000 piece of equipment, our customers know exactly what they're looking for and what they wanted. You need the technical know-how to talk it with them. So that is the program right there. Does anybody have any questions?
I was wondering if you can speak a little bit about like what the day-to-day job after
Yeah,
you complete the program looks like.
sure. Well, our shop technicians, so we have climate controlled bays in our shop. And they work on a variety. No 2 days would ever be the same in there. You'd be working on, I mean, we walk in the shop and there's all sorts of different types of equipment. Some are new, some are old. You would be working with an experienced person initially. They're under their direction. And then as you can take on more responsibility, you will be given more responsibility. But currently the shop works 7 to 3:30 with a half-hour lunch Monday through Friday. In the summer months when our business picks up, there's overtime available. You'd really actually need to come in to see that, which that's part of this. If somebody's really interested, I'm happy to show them around the facility. It's really hard to describe what a typical, what the environment is. And honestly, it scares a lot of people off initially. A lot of big equipment in there.
So is there any like you were saying that, you once you finish the program, you become a technician, and there's still more, you can go to sales, you can go into those different variety of positions. Um, does those involve more training?
Yeah, coming back to training, which is a great question. So we are a regional training center for Caterpillar, which means that we actually have classrooms in our Hillsborough location. We also have classrooms at our corporate office in San Leandro. We are continually training. I mean, if you're a 30-year technician with us, you are still receiving training. Technology is always changing. I mean, these equipment is so sophisticated now, and the new ones coming out are operated remotely. You got the electric power coming in on them. So we continually train people. Just like the car dealership, right? Cars are always changing. Their technicians always have to be continuing to be upgraded in their skills. There's a minimum amount of required training for somebody who's new, and that's 80 hours. That could be online, on the job, classrooms. Here's the story. Our customers oftentimes have their own technicians. So if you go to look along some of these construction sites where there's many pieces of equipment setting out there, they may have their own technicians that do the basic upkeep on them. But once they get to a situation where it's not something they know how to handle, they call us. We are the experts. We send people out there that know how to solve the problem. It's a real problem if they can't do it.
So when a
We're all
student,
about training.
so when a students finish the program, are they required a certain time frame to stay at Peterson, or they can go anywhere?
No, that's the thing. We do not put them under any sort of agreement or contract. I mean, one of our competitors out there has a program where that's what they do. And they do require that somebody sign an agreement, and they leave, they're going to have to repay part of what they paid out. Now, we are frankly on the honor system. So we do incentivize people to continue working for us with the tuition reimbursement program. But with the best training in the industry out there, lots of other companies would certainly like to get a hold of you. So we try to incentivize you to stick around.
So do you know of any like high school classes or that might benefit students right now
Yeah,
so they can prepare?
yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to be honest with you. We typically get interest in this program from somebody who's in a trades class at a high school, automotive, wood shop, welding, they all vary. There's different schools around. We usually get somebody that's where their focus area because they like working with their hands. That's where they're gravitated towards. That's not a requirement by any means. If somebody contacts me and they know about this program and they're real serious about it, I always tell them, this may sound kind of odd, get those general education classes taken care of. The students who come in and already have taken some sort of dual credit program in high school where they've got writing 121 taken care of, boom, they don't have to take that in college. And that's just one less class they have to take. They come in and they have to take the 13 CAT classes, which are sequentially laid out over those 5 terms. If you've already taken writing 121 or some of the other general education requirements, you don't have to take those classes in college, and they're just lightens your workload. This is why I typically go in when I go to a high school, Hill High, let's pick as an example, they have an automotive program. That's typically where I find my students that are interested in this. Some of the other high schools don't have automotive. That doesn't mean they can't still apply. Glencoe I believe has a welding machining program. I've gotten students out of there, but it doesn't require, that's not required.
So how did you get started with Peterson Cat?
Yeah, I've been in the recruiting business for a long time and specifically in the trades recruiting. And once I got involved and found out about this program, I fell in love with this. It's certainly one of the best out there. And I like going out and talking to students about this program. This is not the only place we get new technicians. We have to hire about 100 new technicians every year. That tells you the demand for diesel technicians. That's just us. I was at one of the private schools, Wyotech. I was there actually last week, lovely Laramie, Wyoming, and we're 70, almost 75 employers there looking for diesel technicians. So we hire out of there, but usually once I tell them, here's what usually happens. I'll ask them, did you ever hear about the Think Big program? And almost none of them will ever say they did. And then once I explain all the advantages of this, once they're done crying about it because they will have spent at least $50,000 on their education, but we still hire them out of there. But that, kind of getting away from, I like hiring. This program is the best out there for several reasons. And I enjoy the opportunity to go talk about it.
So so I saw that you guys had like a regional map. So do you guys ever have like a certain amount of traveling? So like let's say one of these Portland students wants to move to California, would they still be able to find a job or?
Absolutely. So that's within the company is fairly straightforward to do. We move people around all the time, and I don't necessarily want to advertise this, but if you get Think Big training, you could go any place in the country or the world, quite frankly. So this is recognized all over certainly the country. There's 11 Think Big programs across the United States. So let's say you wanted to move to pick another state someplace. You would need to contact the cat dealer at that territory, but with this training, I can almost guarantee you they would want to snatch you up right away and get you employed there. If I have somebody contact me who's got out of the Think Big training from any other state in the country and they want to move to our territory, absolutely, let's get you hired.
Okay, students, feel free to drop questions in the chat, or if you want to unmute your mic as well, feel free to do so. if there isn't any more, I just want to ask, is there any last words of advice that you'd want to give the students?
Sure. Just in general, let's give the general pitch for diesel. Huge, huge demand. I mean, that is there. We just don't get enough people going into that particular field. So if you're somebody who does like working with their hands, I mean, there's a lot of trade options available out there, but for a diesel technician with us, I mean, there's kind of this picture that you're a dirty, grimy job. And unfortunately, you do get dirty sometimes, but there's as much, working on a laptop. The first thing our technicians do is hook up a laptop to a piece of equipment and start trying to diagnose off of fault codes what the problem is. So, there's more to this job than just getting dirty and turning wrenches. You got to use your head a lot to figure out what's wrong with it. So there's a combination of, current technology and thinking and diagnosing along with the hands-on mechanical part of it. Wouldn't let the size of the equipment scare you off. We provide you with all the tools you need to do that. I just say if, and you can make a really good wages with this. I mean, you're 2 years out of high school, you're making $25 an hour, and that's just the beginning. I mean, you can make a great living with this.
Okay. Well, I think that was all the questions from the students, but I just want to say thank you for joining us today and talking about the program. I know it's like when you're comparing it to some of the other places that you have to pay back the tuition, in case you don't want to work there. And this program sounds a lot more nicer and more works for the student and not just for the company.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to try to support it any way we can. We do need people that are committed to doing this. However, we are making a substantial investment in this students. So we want somebody that's completely committed to it. Nothing hurts more than we have somebody in the program decide it's not for them, which does happen on occasion. So, but I will say 80% of the people who start the program, our success rate, we have, over half the people who were ever in the program, and that's been going on in Portland for 15 years, still working for us. So our success rate is very good with this. I'll just like to throw out there, anybody who's actually seriously interested and wants to come see the location, I give tours all the time, happy to do so. We want you to know what you're getting into. You can talk to a current student. They can give you firsthand information. You go out to the college and see what that's all about. See the new building that's going up out there.
So if they want to do that, they can just go ahead and email you.
Yep.
On that.
Or call me or text me or whatever works.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that is about it for today. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, I appreciate the opportunity.